Hi, welcome to Building Codes Division. The State of Oregon Building Codes Division, or BCD, provides a wide range of services to the public and to Oregon's construction industry. We serve Oregonians by working to ensure safe building construction while promoting a positive business climate within the state. This is the Code Update Training for Chapter 11 of the 2023 Oregon Residential Specialty Code, also referred to as the 2023 ORSC. Chapter 11 represents the energy efficiency provisions of the 2023 ORSC. This training video covers significant changes included in this chapter. This video is a continuation of the 2023 ORSC Update Training. Please note, this training pertains to the residential energy efficiency provisions only. The commercial provisions can be found in the Oregon Energy Efficiency Specialty Code, also referred to as the OEESC. All BCD inspector and plans examiner certification holders are required to complete code-related update training, which is provided by the division. The certifications that require this training are the Residential Structural Inspector Certification, also known as the CAS, the Residential Plans Examiner Certification, the CAX, the Residential Mechanical Inspector Certification, or CAM, the Specialized Finals Inspector Certification, the SFI, and the Specialized Solar Photovoltaic Certification, the SSI. The objective for this training is to identify the significant technical changes to the energy efficiency design requirements resulting from the adoption of the 2023 ORSC. At the end of the video, division contact information will be provided, where you may submit any questions or feedback. Up-to-date contact information for each presenter is also available on the division's website. Information about the new 2023 ORSC, such as the code adoption process, codebook availability, and code-related publications, is available on the division's website under Codes and Standards. We appreciate your attendance and look forward to working through the updates with you. Our presenters for the energy efficiency, mechanical, and fuel gas topics are Mark Heiser, our Mechanical and Energy Program Chief, and Kelly Thomas, our Energy Policy Analyst. Mark and Kelly are both experts on Oregon's energy code provisions and upcoming changes to meet statewide energy conservation goals. As a reminder, our team is a technical resource for our local government partners and other customers. We are always happy to assist and always appreciate hearing from you. The energy efficiency provisions of the 2023 ORSC are unique to Oregon. For this video, distinct formatting is being used to show the added and/or deleted changes. Blue underline denotes added language, and red strike-through denotes deleted language. For this training video, the division has also created a supplementary code adoption summary that includes the Chapter 11 Oregon amendments highlighted in this video and other important information about the new code. Please note that the formatting for code changes in the summary may be different due to the inclusion of both new and existing Oregon amendments. The code adoption summary is linked in the video description below, along with chapter timestamps to aid in navigation through this presentation.
Hello, I'm Kelly Thomas, Energy Policy Analyst for the division. To kick off the significant changes to Chapter 11, we'll start with existing buildings. Then, in a few minutes, we'll cover new buildings. For existing buildings and additions, changes have been made to the following sections. N1101.2, clarifying subsection 1 for alteration and repair, along with Table N1101.2 for existing building component performance requirements, and N1101.3, clarifying subsection 1, along with adjustments to the associated table relative to the additional measures options when constructing additions. Let's look at these in more detail. In N1101.2, we simply clarify the maximum extent technically practical provision, including why the exception is needed. Here, you'll see the existing constraints language is expanded to include real-world constraints such as available cavity depth and allows flexibility for similar constraints. There are a few changes to Table N1101.2, existing building component performance requirements. First, we clarified the vaulted ceiling and underfloor joist depth values. Then, we adjusted windows and glazed doors to have an equal performance value. Slab edge perimeter insulation is no longer applicable, as it simply isn't practical for existing buildings. Finally, we deleted the air duct provision, since that is picked up in the HVAC section and not related to the building thermal envelope. Here are those changes. The vaulted ceiling and underfloor joist depths are now clearly split at the 2x10 joist size. Glazed doors are incorporated into the window performance requirements. Classification of exterior doors with greater than 2.5 square feet of glazing was confusing and is no longer needed. Which doors are fenestration versus an opaque exterior door will be discussed in later slides. Finally, the slab edge and air ducts are deleted. Additions. We clarified that one measure from Table N1101.1, parens 2, must be selected for large additions. You can see that reflected here. Our table numbering also shifted slightly, so that is recognized. Table N1101.3 is now Table N1101.3.2 for the additional measures when constructing an addition. That table has modifications to 4 of the 9 measures. A summary of the main changes are on this slide. Let's take a look at those changes in detail. The furnace efficiency increased from 92% AFUE to 94% AFUE, a common efficiency in the marketplace. With measures 7 and 8, we simply introduce the HSPF and SEER equivalents HSPF2 and SEER2. The latter come into effect on January 1st of 2024. HVAC systems will have both for a while, and either are acceptable until stock utilizing HSPF and SEER are depleted. Measure 9 changes the water heating efficiency requirement to the industry standard Uniform Energy Factor, or UEF. In this case, 3.45 UEF. New buildings. New construction has significant changes to these main sections. N1101.1, specifically Table N1101.1, parens 2, which is relative to the additional measures. N1104 exterior envelope requirements, N1105 HVAC systems, N1106 piping insulation, N1107 lighting and power, and finally NA1109, a performance path known as the Energy Rating Index, or ERI. Diving into the revisions for new dwellings, our first stop is Table N1101.1, Parens 2, Additional Measures. There are changes to Measures 1 and 5 for HVAC and ductless heat pump efficiency, Measure 2, relative to water heating efficiency, Measure 7, glazing area, has been deleted, and Measure 8, now 7, regarding air leakage and ventilation. Let's look at the changes to that table. Measure 1 increases air source heat pump cooling efficiency from 14 to 16 SEER. It also provides the equivalent HSPF2 and SEER2 values. As previously explained, we have two values using old and new efficiency ratings as required by federal rules. Measure 2, similar to Table N1101.3.2, changes the water heating efficiency requirement to 3.45 UEF. Measure 5 provides the equivalent HSPF2 and SEER2 values. The HSPF2 for ductless heat pumps is intentionally higher than that for air source heat pumps. Measure 7 is deleted entirely as it was a loophole preventing code progression. Measure 8, now 7, reduces the ACH 50 from 3 to 2.75 when using this additional measure. The prescriptive limit was also reduced, which we'll review momentarily. The new language also sets total fan efficacy at 1.6 CFM per watt. Feel free to pause this video in order to locate BCD's high efficiency thermal envelope calculator relative to Measure 5 via the QR code. The following significant changes have been made to N1104 exterior envelope requirements. Table N1101.1, Parens 1, the prescriptive thermal envelope requirements, N1104.3, exterior doors, and N1104.8, air leakage. Let's look at those changes. Table N1101.1, Parens 1, has a revised footnote J, equating glass door performance requirements to that of windows. As such, the exterior doors with greater than 2.5 square feet of glazing is deleted. Here you can see the exterior doors reference is deleted, and footnote J now reads as seen here, where glass doors now equal the window performance requirements. Glass doors meet the window's U factor of 0.27, and opaque doors meet the exterior door U factor of 0.20. The windows exempt from testing language is also clarified. Exterior doors and windows. Section N1104.3 further aligns glass door performance with window performance, deleting exception 3. And The air leakage requirement for exterior doors was moved into the charging statement. Section N1104.4.3 updates fenestration air leakage requirement to be consistent with the IECC. Note here that doors shall be tested and labeled just like windows. Air leakage requirements for doors are contained in section N1104.8. Here again, doors that incorporate glazed areas are no longer an exception. New section N1104.4.3 Fenestration Air Leakage. This language is consistent with the IECC. N1104.8.2 Ceiling Required updates this optional path to utilize blower door testing. Blower door testing is not mandatory. The optional blower door test results are reduced from 4.0 ACH50 to 3.25 ACH50. Again, this is an optional path. These new limits are based on data from construction across Oregon where testing occurs. Achieving a continuous air barrier can be done by implementing best practices, which we outline next. Table N1104.8 is an overview of the minimum best practices for air sealing, and they are required. We clarified the windows, skylights, and doors criteria as seen here. You may want to take a minute to pause this video and review the air barrier criteria. Note that an air sealing technical bulletin will be available on the BCD website under the ORSC energy provisions. N1105 HVAC systems. These significant changes have been made. N1105.3 Installation of ducts and air handling equipment. Deeply buried ducts are now addressed in 3 new sections, N1105.3.1 through N1105.3.3. N1105.4 HVAC controls has changes to sections N1105.4.1.2 Smart Thermostat, a new section, and N1105.4.1.3 Heat Pump Controls. While changes to N1105.6 Ventilation Fan Efficiency addresses Central Fan Integrated, or CFI, ventilation system efficiency. Let's look at those in detail. N1105.3 Installation of ducts and air handling equipment. The language now requires all ducts, air handling equipment, and appliances to be located fully within the building thermal envelope. It revises the ductwork exception from 5% of the system length to 10 feet total. This change makes it easier to interpret and apply during plan review and inspection. Finally, revisions are made to the exceptions for ductwork located outside of the building thermal envelope. 2 measures shall be selected for compliance from the additional measures table N1101.2 parens 2, where only 1 additional measure is required if they are located in conditioned space. And 3 new sections were developed for attics and crawl spaces. Ducts outside of the thermal envelope must be deeply buried. Deeply buried ductwork is outlined in these 3 new sections, N1105.3.1 N1105.1 for attics, N1105.3.2 for unvented, unconditioned crawl spaces, and N1105.3.3 for vented crawl spaces. In all sections, the ductwork itself shall be a minimum of R8 unless meeting the exceptions for vented attics and vented crawl spaces. This does not include the additional insulation and or other requirements. The charging language clarifies that N1105.3 applies to additions. The 5% of the HVAC system length exception is clarified to allow for 10 feet of ductwork, not the system, to be located outside conditioned space. This allows for better enforceability. As mentioned earlier, two measures from Table N1101.2, parens 2, must be selected for compliance when ductwork is not located in conditioned space. Ducts deeply buried in insulation is deleted here, but expanded in three new sections, N1105.3.1 through N1105.3.3. You can find a technical bulletin relative to these provisions by pausing the video and utilizing the QR code on the screen. For ductwork deeply buried in the attic, these provisions apply. This language does not differ much from the 2021 ORSC, but a new exception was approved for when the duct is insulated to a minimum of R27 and a Class 2 or Class 3 vapor retarder is also applied. These provisions apply for ductwork in unvented crawl space where the crawl space is outside of the thermalobe and is not conditioned space. The vapor barrier must meet section R408.3 with an overlap of 12 inches and be sealed. The floor between the crawl space and the dwelling shall be insulated with minimum R30. These provisions apply for ductwork in a vented crawl space. Think of this as the attic measures turned upside down. Note that these differ from the unvented provisions. R19 insulation shall be installed below the duct and between the duct and the unconditioned crawl space. The same attic exception applies. Some overdue changes have been made to the thermostat section. Manual thermostats are deleted, and a new section, N1105.4.1.2, for smart thermostats is added. These must meet Energy Star and other criteria. N1105.4.1.1, setback and shutoff, specifically deletes the manual means for reducing energy. Smart thermostats are now required. They must meet Energy Star criteria with minimum control features of either integral occupancy sensing, geofencing, or an approved equivalent. Note that exceptions still apply for smaller heating units and smaller cooling systems. Cooling systems with variable speed compressors may require manufacturer's thermostat to provide efficient operation. BCD will be issuing a clarification for variable speed condensing units and heat pumps. Energy Star Product Finder can be used to locate acceptable models. There are at least 45 models available in the marketplace. So, what is geofencing? We are glad you asked. Essentially, it is a feature that uses GPS or radio frequencies such that no internet is required. The thermostat can sense when occupants aren't home and sets back operation if desired. N1105.4.1.3 Heat Pump Controls. Outdated manual setback and outdoor thermostat requirements have been deleted and replaced with model code language. Control language for heat pumps having supplementary electric resistance heat has been added. Manual setback is removed, and now heat pump controls having supplementary electric resistance heat need controls which prevent supplemental heat operation when the unit can meet the needed heating load. N1105.6 Ventilation Fan Efficiency. We established a minimum fan efficacy for central fan integrated, or CFI, ventilation systems in alignment with the 2021 IECC and the draft 2024 IECC. CFI, or CFIS systems, utilize the furnace fan for ventilation. When the furnace fan is used to provide the outdoor air intake, this section sets the effective efficiency of whole house ventilation system air delivery. When the system is utilized, the effective delivery of the air shall not be less than 1.2 CFM per watt. To achieve this efficiency, most whole house ventilation systems using the furnace will need to have intermittent operation of the system and interlock of the furnace and exhaust relief fan. N1106 Piping Insulation. Significant changes include clarification of when R3 insulation is required. In this picture, the hot water pipe behind the gray box is not insulated to R3. This is now required. And adds a new section requiring piping insulation that is exposed to weather be protected from damage. Here, language clarifies that piping insulation not fully within the conditioned space shall be insulated to a minimum of R3. The new section N1106.3 is mainly directed at HVAC refrigerant lines which need protection from the elements as seen here. N1107 Lighting and Power. Changes include a clarification that the section also regulates power. The solar interconnection pathway was removed from Chapter 11 and relocated to Section R 324.7, and the electric vehicle placeholder was removed per House Bill 2180 from the 2021 session. Here you can see those changes. The new Performance Path compliance option is the Energy Rating, or ERI, pathway. This replaces the energy modeling provisions. The ERI language utilized is from model code. The current REACH code language was not utilized. A backstop is in place as the design must still meet the building thermal envelope requirements of Section N1104. This means super high efficiency equipment cannot take the place of envelope efficiency. This is because the envelope should be around a lot longer than the equipment. ERI maximum values are set for each climate zone. On screen is a shortened version of the ERI compliance pathway. ERI compliance is attained only if the rated design meets or exceeds Section N1104 and attains a score of either 54 in Climate Zone 4C or 55 in Climate Zone 5C. Verification is completed by the building official or an approved third-party inspection agency, which is the most common practice. Compliance software tools, such as REMRate, must comply with ResNet ICC 301. Compliance reports are generated by these software tools. Of course, the building official may retain the documentation. When in doubt, input values default to ResNet ICC 301.
Congratulations! This completes the 2023 ORSC Energy Efficiency Code Update Training. Thank you for watching this presentation. Providing useful information to all of you is important to our team. If you have questions or comments, please contact Mark or Kelly. Their contact information is available on the division's website. You can also scan this QR code to get there.